Hey crew, what's up? Today we are doing a few different things. So we're discussing motif and colloquialism in Catcher. Our primary goals then are simply going to be to re-examine motif. Now we've already touched on this in the past, but we didn't really go particularly in depth with it. We also have to understand the concept of colloquialism, and y'all will also begin practicing your application of your analytical skills when it comes to literary symbolism. So the reason we're talking about motif and colloquialism is because they are probably the two most important techniques utilized in Catcher in the Rye. So what is colloquial diction? So colloquial diction is a style of diction, a style of word choice that a writer might use that is informal and might use slang or even profanity, okay? It's extremely informal. Oftentimes, there's also regional language that's used. So words or phrases or expressions that might be only found in New York City or the South or areas of California. Frequently, the writer will also spell the words so that they will appear to look more like they would actually sound with an accent. So why is this a useful tool, using colloquial diction in writing? Well, if you're looking at a piece of fiction, it's really useful for developing characterization. By seeing how somebody talks, the type of language that they use, we learn a lot about who they are and what they believe inside of themselves. It also helps develop our setting. It sets the scene for where this is happening, particularly if they're using heavy regional dialect, heavy regional colloquialism. It makes the environment feel more real and lived in. And finally, as all diction does, it helps develop the tone and mood. Okay, as opposed to having an extremely formal or stiff mood, it might develop something that's a little bit more flexible, a little bit more laid back, or it might communicate extreme opposites of that. It might help communicate anger or sadness. So here's some examples of colloquialism. Our first one, for our formal expression, we have, "Hello, young man. It is a true pleasure to make your acquaintance. How are you feeling today?" Now, if we wanted to say that colloquially, we want to get rid of all of that formality and ask in a very conversational, laid-back kind of way. "Hey, kid, nice to meet you. What's up?" Our second example here is going to rely heavily on slang. Okay, I don't know if this slang is current. Please do not roast me. I am 35 years old, okay? Cut me a break. Formal, okay? I am extremely enamored with that gentleman. Amusingly enough, I may have been excessive with the attention I paid to him. Very formal, okay? Very academic almost. Whereas in our colloquial language, we are using slang. OMG, I'm high-key in love with that dude. I'm so extra. LOL. Now, the next thing we want to touch on is motif. Now, remember that all a motif is a symbol that does not just occur one time in a story. It occurs throughout a piece, the beginning, the middle, and the end in most cases. These, just like symbols, will always represent concepts. So recognizing and understanding them is really one of the best ways to understand a writer's themes. But why is that? As I said before, they are the key to cracking the code that the writer has offered us. Think of them like purposeful repetition in a speech. If a writer or a speaker is reusing a word or phrase over and over again, they're trying to emphasize something. Motifs emphasize specific concepts, and they help us see the writer's perspectives on those concepts. Okay? Since they also might appear throughout a work, they can help us see meaningful change within the plot, the conflict, and the characters. The way characters or the way the story addresses these motifs help us understand the way it is developing and evolving. So some examples of motifs are, for example, the mockingbirds in To Kill a Mockingbird. We see the mockingbird several times throughout that piece. And the mockingbirds represent the concepts of innocence and selflessness. There's also the idea of rabbits or furry animals in Of Mice and Men. Now, the fuzzy creatures here represent the ideas of stability and happiness that George and Lenny both desire. If we develop that a little bit more, we see that Lenny often kills the fuzzy creatures accidentally, representing the fact that that kind of stability is not within their reach. So by looking at the way that those motifs are dealt with in the story, we begin to understand the themes. All right. Now that you've got your notes, there are a few activities at the bottom of this document for you to take care of. Have a wonderful day. We will see you later.